feeling powerful today. And the reason being is I came to a conclusion. I am not getting a lot finished because I'm not organized. And so I have decided to become more organized. And this revelation came to me when I was looking for something in the stash closet, and for a friend of mine who's coming by on Friday. And when I was looking, I found all kinds of things that needed to get done. And one of those things was this Cape Flower Needle Keeper from Sue Spargo. Now, Sue Spargo's a dear person. I am a great fan of hers. And I know I'm not her best student because I kind of go off on my own thing. My monkey brain kind of takes over. And because I have so much to do, I just want to do it my way. I can hear that song playing, My Way. Okay, but I'm not swimming. So I found this kit for the Cape Flower Needle Keeper, and I said, this is why I haven't gotten all of my Sue Spargo Block of the Months done. It's because I was supposed to have all the organizational tools done first, and then I would get them done. So I am backing up a bit, and I found this kit, which I love, and I love Yazzie bags, and have different size ones around here. But this is the a Yazzie wallet stitcher. See how it folded up like that? And it came with, I got it from Sue's website, and it came with all of the instructions and the supplies, and now I need to put it together. But here's where we kind of go our separate ways. And the reason being is that I'm a fusing kind of girl. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to fuse my pieces on the back for stitching so I just have everything together. And then I came up with this brilliant idea. It says to put this piece of wool to pink the edges of this piece of wool so that it won't ravel as your needle keeper. And then I thought, oh, well, I was going to make a needle roll, which I will do someday, but I could actually put this here as instructed and make it a needle keeper too. So I had two packages of these. If you've ever seen people that make you jealous in Sue Spargo's class that has everything organized, oh yeah, and they got a needle roll with all the little needle sizes and names labeled on their wool. Man, those people just drive me crazy. Well, I'm going to be one of those. So I'm actually going to take these labels and sew them, not all of them because I don't necessarily use all these different size needles, but I'm going to use my favorite ones in here and attach it, and then I'll, because I don't know about you, but every time I go to get a needle, they're stuck in pin cushions all over the place here, and I can't figure out what size or what kind they are. I'm trying to look through the little hole going, can I see the little eye of that needle? So that's what I'm doing today, and I will kind of let you watch me as I figure out the process of how I'm going to get away with this by using fusible so that I can take it with me and stitch it without having to carry all the separate pieces. Brilliant, I know. Okay, so hang tight. So, in trying to make this project a little easier and a shortcut for myself, this is not by any means the way Sue teaches, and as you know, her things are just lovely. But it is what I do for the expedient of time. So I did follow the directions, and I pink sheared the little piece of wool that you attach to this needle case, which worked out great. What I did a little differently than the instructions is I took those little labels, because I had 2 packs of those for a needle roll that had the size needles printed on them, and I picked the ones that I use the most, and I fused them to my wool, and then I stitched around just to hold them on. So now I have a little needle pack organizer in my organizer. My organizer is an organizer. So now the next step for me is to get the wool onto the outside of this to make it look cute. And I am using soft fuse. I traced my motifs onto soft fuse from the instructions that were given. And now I'm going to fuse my pieces, the soft fuse pieces, to the wool and cut those out, and then decide how I'm going to lay them out on this pack. This is going to help me finish all my projects, because I'll have everything so organized, don't you know? Okay, next step. I steamed both sides. Now we need to cut these all off. I'm going to try something a little different. Because the last time, I have to tell you, the challenge, let me get this bag out of here, the challenge of decorating a Yazzie bag, and this is my other Yazzie bag, is actually sewing onto the Yazzie bag is challenging, to say the least. So I think what I'm going to try to do is, since I use fusible, I'm going to fuse the pieces on top, and then I'm going to stitch those first. I'm going to do the least amount of stitching to the Yazzie bag. So I'm going to give that a try. So stay tuned for that. I think I have figured out a way to make this a little easier when you stitch with these embellishments on Yazzie bags. I'm cutting down half of the struggle, and the way that I'm doing this is, so this motif, because I fused all my pieces together, is supposed to be right here. But rather than put it there and be stitching, I left the fusible paper, the paper part, on the very back biggest piece, and I fused my little pieces onto it. And so now I'm going to peel off the back fusible. But before I fuse this, if this makes any sense, before I fuse this piece onto my Yazzie bag or wallet, which I will have to do in order to stitch this piece to it, I am going to do the stitching of all of the other pieces on top of this one while I'm holding it like this. And so I'm using some wool thread, and I'm just going to tack down. Oh, this is going to be so much easier than trying to do it while it's attached to the Yazzie bag. And there'll still be enough fusible on the back of this, the largest piece, to make it fit in place. And I'm using just a wool thread, doing a very, very tiny tacking stitch, and then I'll do some embellishing around it. Oh, but this is so much easier than if this was attached to this and I was having to move this thing all around. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but this is working out really slick. So normally you'd attach this to the Yazzie bag and then start stitching and have to kind of go under and up and under and hide your stitches, but all I'm doing is I'm stitching on top of the motifs that are on top of my piece. There's fusible on the back of the whole thing, and that is why I can do this, because that fusible is keeping my base piece of wool, the flower, from getting all stretched out as I'm stitching it. And so I have gone around one whole circle with a chain stitch while I'm holding it, which is so much easier than if I was having to deal with it stuck or attached to the Yazzie bag. This is, I wish I had done this when I did the big bag. That was, of course I couldn't with that one. I actually did make that separate, because attaching that piece to the Yazzie bag is what is, you know, a big problem. So doing as much as you can while it's not attached to the Yazzie bag is better. And I'm just doing this chain stitch around the circles. Sue is all about the embellishing stitches, and we certainly love them all. I took a little break. I went down with my friend to deliver her quilts at the QUilt events office, and then we went and had lunch at one of the food carts in town. That's up and coming places to eat in all of Central Oregon, and we had a fabulous lunch. So now I am back to my project, and I am loving on this particular project doing this by not attaching it first to the background piece, but stitching some of this down by just holding my little piece. And I think I've discovered some new a new way to do wool. I don't know, maybe other people do this, but this is like, wow. So I fused the little green inner leaf to the outer blue leaf, and I left the fusible paper on the back of the blue leaf when I did this so it wouldn't stick to my ironing board. And then I peeled that paper off to stitch. And what I'm finding is by using the fusible, which I use soft fuse, you know, in the tube, this stuff over here, soft fuse, for those who maybe this is your first time here. And it's keeping the wool from fraying as I'm stitching this little piece, which is awesome. So now I'm just tacking down with some wool thread that has a complementary color onto my background leaf. So I am already starting to stitch my leaves, which I absolutely love, because instead of having them already attached, as I said before, it's more fun, or I should say less of a hassle, to stitch than just to pick one little leaf up and do the stitching. And so I have 3 of them done and 3 to go, and all I have done is a little palestrina knot down the center of the inner leaf, and then a running stitch around the outside with the same thread. So what I'm going to show you now for a stitch demo is the palestrina knot, which I absolutely love. And I'm going to do this on a separate piece of wool that's kind of more contrasty so that you can actually see what is done. And I'm going to do it a little bit bigger. So I got my thread, got my piece of wool, and I'm going to, and this, by the way, is on page 68 of Creative Stitching, Sue Spargo's book. So I'm going to bring my needle up through my piece, and I'm going across the wool as if I was going to make the vine or the vein on the leaf. And then I'm going to come over however big I want that to be. I'm going to take a bite out of the wool, just like that, and pull it through. So that you can see I have a straight line and my thread coming out there. Then I bring this around, I bring the thread around, and I'm going underneath that little straight line with my needle, and I'm going to pull the thread through there. Now here's the tricky part. The next step to make this palestrina knot is to take your needle and find that sweet spot between the stitch that was across and the stitch that came over the top. So I'm going to go through there. So as you can see, it's kind of like at a diagonal. I'm kind of in that sweet spot between those 2 threads. And then I'm going to make sure that this thread is behind my needle, and I'm going to pull it through gently. And there's your palestrina knot. So when I go to the next one, I have my thread. I'm going to take a bite of my wool. I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to come around and go underneath this. I'm going to bring that thread through. And then I'm going to look for that sweet spot, that space between those 2 threads. And there's that sweet spot. And then I'm going to make sure that this thread is behind my needle, and I'm going to pull it through. And then I have my second knot. it kind of looks like a chain of pearls, like that plant, that chain of pearls plant with the little ball. And so when you go across, you're going to have these little pearls with a little space in between. And that is a fun stitch. It's an outline stitch, and you can see if you make the space bigger, it gives that kind of a pearl outline. Now on my little leaf, they're very, very close, but it gives a little texture to the vein on the center of the leaf. So that's what I'm doing now, finishing up my leaves, and then the next step is we will attach all the different motifs. I have gotten my outline stitch done on my flower, and now all that's left is to do the outside of the flower, and I'll have to do that when it's actually attached to the Yazzie bag. So I have that, I have my stem and my leaves, and then we're all set to actually embellish the Yazzie bag. So stay tuned. Hey! So I have oh, it's thunder and lightning outside again. Oh, geez. I'm beginning to attach my motifs to the Yazzie wallet. And right now I'm using wool thread, and I'm just doing a tacking stitch going sideways just in the very top layer of the wallet, just to get it attached to the wallet. And I'm kind of making little perpendicular stitching bites. And then I'll go back and do the challenging part, which is making some bullions around the upper flower. It's a little more challenging when you're attaching to an entirely pre-made wallet or bag, and so you just have to give yourself a little bit of grace and leave the judgment at the door. After all, this wallet is going to help me get organized to get my Suspargo stitching done. So if I can't accomplish this, I am in deep trouble when it comes to my block of months. And I'm just taking a tiny bite of the upper layer of the wallet because I don't want to go through the back side because I don't want the stitching to show. But it's going fairly well. Fairly well. Ooh, I think before I tack this whole thing down, I want to put a little bee charm right there. So I think I'll do that when I can still kind of get underneath there. Luckily for me, I remembered that I wanted to put that little bee charm, because after all, this is the beehive, on my little wallet. And so a subscriber had sent me this little pack of bee charms, and so I'm using one on the middle of my flower there. And I just love it. And so now I'm still tacking down around the flower with just a slip stitch, and I tucked the ribbon under. I found a great ribbon to use for this project because I melted the other one when I tried to iron it on here. Live and learn, you know. And my girlfriend that came over said, "Yeah, that's not right. This is a blend of some kind of ribbon." But it was really cool. It's just when the iron hit it, it just shriveled up like an old woman. So So I'm continuing to slip stitch around, not going through the whole wallet, to attach this flower to the outside. I'm keeping one finger on the bottom side so I can feel if I accidentally poke through the wallet, because I'm only wanting to slip stitch it to the top and not puncture one of the bags on the back side. Sometimes it gets a little bit on the hard side. There we go. Well, I've got the flower tacked down. So now maybe a bullion stitch around the top, but I'll have to decide that. So I think the next step for me is to slip stitch the stem down, and then I can attach my leaves. So I was able to get my leaves whip stitched down. This is the thing, is I did not have any wool thread that matched my leaves in any of my donuts. So what I did was I took the next step. I went to my embroidery floss and I took 2 strands of embroidery floss and I whip stitched down those leaves. And it was simple. When you're doing this kind of project, I always keep my hand on the back side. I could feel it's surprisingly easy how I am not puncturing through the back side because there's all this plastic here. But I'm just kind of doing a perpendicular not a perpendicular, parallel whip stitch, so I can kind of feel the needle from the back side that it's not going through. And I whip stitch them all down. And now I am doing a back stitch with a heavier thread. This is I chose a number 3 thread, and I think that's actually what it says on the pattern. So it's going to be a running stitch, a back stitch around the leaves. And the reason I'm using a number 3 is because it will show up more. It is a little tougher stitching through this Yazzie bag because the fabric is naturally meant. I don't think they intentionally made it to be embellished. So the weave is quite tight and it's a heavy-duty fabric to withstand wear. But he or she, whoever is the person behind, the designer behind Yazzie bag, has had no idea what would happen when Sue Spargo got a hold of it, because she Spargos everything. So there I went around one whole leaf with a running stitch, and it was easy to bury the knot underneath because the whip stitch I kept kind of a little further apart and loose. What I can tell you is that using fusible on here, I was starting to try to fuse my big pieces and my leaves onto this wallet, but I could tell that I might have the same problem as I had with that dang ribbon, that I might melt my wallet. So I didn't fuse them to this. I didn't want to use a hot iron on this wallet, but I still liked having the fusible around because it kept the wool from fraying as I was holding the individual pieces and stitching on top of them. So I would still use fusible as a stabilizer. And then I just really love my little bee there. So the next step for me, which I won't bore you with, is I'm going to do a running stitch. I keep saying running stitch. Oh, it's early in the morning. Back stitch around all of my leaves. And then I'm going to see if I am capable of putting a bullion stitch around here. And if I am, I'll share it with you. So I've gotten my leaves all back stitched with the embellishing stitches. And now I'm ready to do the very last stitch I'm going to do, which is around the flower, and it uses a bullion stitch. And a bullion stitch is one of my favorites. I've talked about it before. I've demoed it before, but I will be demoing it again. And it is the stitch that you use to make a lot of insects, like bees and ladybugs. And it is a wrapped stitch. And let me see what page on your book, if you are a book learner, it is, let's see if this is the one. Yeah, it is on page 94 of your creative stitching book. The most important thing about the bullion stitch is that you need to use a milliner needle. It's the reason you use this needle is it's the same circumference around at the head and at the base of the needle, and so any kind of wrapped stitch is going to just pull right off, and you won't really realize how extremely difficult it is to do a bullion stitch if you're using a regular chenille needle, because it's just a hair bigger, but boy, that wrap just does not want to slide off. So this milliner's needle, and I'm using a milliner number 1, and I kind of went through my thread, and I absolutely love how bullion stitches look when it's done with silken and pearl, which is you can get on Sue Spargo's site. And this one is called Morning on the Seine. It's kind of like a variegated purple, blue, and pink, and so I think it'll look really pretty. And then I'm going to be done. So let me just say, this project is not for the faint of heart. And I mean that not in that it's a difficult project. The challenge is that you're not stitching on wool or cotton, you're stitching on this Yazzie bag, and this is kind of like a hard, tightly woven canvas, and so you have to, what would I say, you want to be in charge of it. It kind of like I started daydreaming when I was doing it, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be awesome to have a tent that was all Spargoed? I mean, can you imagine? But that's kind of what this is like to stitch on. I'm not saying that you should not do it. I am saying that when you do it and you conquer, you will be the star of the class. So I am hoping when I go to my Sue Spargo class in Santa Fe, I will be whipping out my little wallet, and someone will say at my table, "Oh, did you do that?" And I'm going to say, "Oh yeah, piece of cake, all cake." Yeah, no. So it is a challenge worth meeting. That's all I'm saying. And I love it. So now I've got my last stitch to do, the bullion stitch. So we're ready for the tutorial on the bullion stitch. And just to give you an idea of the bullion stitch, it is what is used, as I said before, to make that little bee. It's alternating colors, and I usually just bring both colors up and then alternate the needle to complete that. It's also what's used to make this rose. And around this edge, I used a very small bullion. So depending on how many wraps will determine how tall your bullion stands up. Now, like I said, it was on page 94 of Creative Stitching, but now I'm going to demo a bullion. I love the silken pearl thread. You again have to use a milliner's needle. This is a milliner's number 1, and I have come up from the back. My knot is on the back. I've come up to the front, and then depending on how big I want that bullion to be, I'm gonna go like maybe 1/8 of an inch down, and then come up right next to where I came through from the back. So you can see here's where I came through, and there's my milliner's needle. I'm going to push that up, and then I'm going to determine how tall I want that little bulge to be by how many wraps I do. So let's say for this spot I'm going to do 8 wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to keep a tight handle on the thread. I'm going to put my thumb over the wraps, and I'm going to push them down, and then I'm going to just pull that needle through those wraps without letting go. This is why you need a milliner's needle, because it slides right through those wraps. And then I'm going to keep pulling the thread, and then as I come to the end, I just adjust that bullion, and you see you get this nice little, and you can stick your needle in there and make it a little bit taller if you want, or shorter, and then you go down to secure it. So there's your bullion stitch. So if I want to do the next one, I'm going to come up, I'm going to go down right next to where this one ended and come up next to that thread, and then I'm going to do my wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you can do however many wraps you want depending on how big you want your bullion. And then I'm going to pull that through. It slides right through, and once I get to the end, I'm going to go down to the back, and there's my second bullion. It's like a little bat. So that is the bullion stitch, and that is what I used to complete my wallet. So I did a bullion stitch all the way around the edge, and I chose a wrap of 8 until I got towards the inside of these points, and then I went to like a wrap of 6. But I absolutely love my little wallet. It's all ready for me to show off in class. I have my supplies, basic supplies, scissors, needle threader, the little round circle that helps you pull the needle through, my drizzle stitch, little square so that I can do the drizzle stitch, and then I decided to attach a magnet. So my magnet is on the inside of this pouch, and then that goes on the outside, so I have a place to put my needle, and then my labeled needles, which I love. So there you go. That's another one in the can. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and I hope you will give yourself a challenge and make this beautiful little Yazzie bag wallet embellished.
Thanks for watching.
And be sure to like and subscribe on Quilt Roadies. Another thing that has been a good thing for me is I'm trying to get more organized. So I felt like a little piggy here. I just had everything kind of stacked around here, and I said I really needed to get more organized. So I decided to see how I could pack up my Crafters Yazzie bag, the Ultimate Crafters Yazzie bag. I was so pleased with how it bundled up. Now the Yazzie bag is heavy duty. It's it's like a step up from your project bag. It's like luggage. It's almost like luggage, but not heavy. And so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we get to hit the road in March sometime, that we get to get the van and start camping, and I'm just kind of looking forward to that. And so the Yazzie bag, I started to get melancholy and dream about camping again. But the Yazzie bag's going to be perfect for transporting a project. So I'm going to readjust the camera and show you how I packed up my Yazzie bag. I mean, it is going, my Crafters Yazzie bag is going to hold more than one project. I just have one project right now packed in it, but easily it will hold more. And I was thinking about my girlfriend Becca from Sambry Stitches. She never leaves her house, literally never leaves her house without her stitching, her hoop or frame, all the accoutrement that she needs, because that girl is never going to sit down anywhere. I mean, I can almost see her in the dentist chair stitching and saying, okay, hold on a second, I just need to look over here, okay. I mean, she literally, if there's anyone who needs a Yazzie Crafter bag, it would be Becca. So I'm going to reposition the camera and let you see what I did. So here is my Crafters Yazzie bag, and I'll put the link below for this. And I haven't decided yet. I know I am going to embellish the front, but I can't decide if I'm going to put the gnomes, which I really love. I mean, it might have to be the gnomes, because the gnomes with the mushrooms would make this red pop. I chose red. It comes in different colors. Or if I'll put the Fat Quarter Shop Prim and Proper Sal on here. I haven't decided. But I am going to embellish the front. And as you can see, it's a nice size. And when I open this, I'll just show you how much I packed in this. I decided to pack the book house in here because I wanted to see if I could fit everything. And I just love how everything fits. So look at this. Look at this. I keep my floss in floss away bags, and so I can see them. I decided to put them into the clear plastic pockets so I could see the number, and it's all right there. Scissors, pen, there's even more options for other accoutrement, but look at this. Got my needles, I got my box with my needle minders. My 12-inch hoop fit inside here without taking it off of the hoop. Is that not the best thing? And then my chart I kept in a plastic folder, but what I really loved is it was this big clear plastic pocket where I could put the key code. You know, the code for the color and the symbols, the symbol code. So it's always showing. All I have to do is open my bag and look, and I can see right through that clear plastic pocket. And then I have my, my thread keeper there. And I have pockets, I have pockets for another project. If I want to take another project along, and in case I finished this one, I could stick it in there and I could do that. I mean, this bag is so amazing, and I wish you could really feel how sturdy this bag is. How sturdy it is, because it is really amazing. It is going to stand up to all kinds of abuse. So I am looking forward to getting on the road again. I know some of you are ready for me to get on the road, and I'm going to put a little, I've decided, I received some adorable key charms. I'm going to put a little key charm on the zipper, but I think this might be my, I don't know if one could say that there's a favorite Yazzie bag. There's so many choices, and they all fit different times or uses. So, but this one is really so versatile for cross stitch. I just, you know, cross stitch or wool stitching, I could see myself interchanging, but I was very excited when the hoop fit in there. Yeah, I was very excited about that. Going to set up for the review of the Yazzie bags and a little bit of information on what I'm bringing and what I'm packing and how I intend to use them. They are such awesome travel bags. They're just so darn sturdy, and then when you decorate them, it just becomes like designer luggage with the most precious things in them, because it's all your stitching, you know. And it's interesting because originally the Yazzie company was about travel bags, but the craft industry embraced them, not only for their sturdiness, but for their versatility. Excuse me. So stay tuned, okay? We're going to move on to the next segment. Welcome to the second segment of Quilt Roadies. Today I am going to review two different types of Yazzie bags. I have only, you know, I have about 4 different kinds of Yazzie bags, and I'm here to tell you that they're just so awesome that that you can't have too many, as long as they can work into your life. And if you are on the go, these are the bags you want to take with you. I was shocked. I had never had a maxi Yazzie 3-piece bag. I had gone with the Crafters version, and this one is amazing. Amazing. It is huge. Both of these bags that I'm going to show you today are multiple project bags, which is going to be perfect for me to head over the mountain to the classes at the Quilters Affair in Sisters, Oregon, because I can fit everything I want in these 2 bags, and that's going to be awesome. This is a 3-piece bag. It has 11 zippered pockets. I am just amazed by this bag. So let's take a look inside. So you have this outside zipper. I mean, this thing is great. when I open it, it's not even going to fit in the screen because it is fantastic. This is a great carry-on bag. I mean, you can, you don't even need a purse because everything can fit in here. So what I decided to pack into this Maxi Yazzie is my Sashiko and my Sue Spargo. So in this front pocket you can see that there are numerous zippers, and I love that the zippers here, the zippers go both ways. So if you wanted to, you could only have to open one half of the pocket. But I have all of my, the planned project for my Sashiko, and what I am taking is the Maple Leaf Table Runner. This is a Sylvia Pippin design, and I've been working on it for quite a while, so I'm ready to get it done. And this is how far I have gotten. It is, it takes a little bit different type of Sashiko thread, and so I'm enjoying the color of it. And then I have my thread for this project right here in this pocket. So in the front pocket I have my my actual project, I have the pattern, I have extra patterns. This is a little extra kit in case I get something done and need to start something. I have needles, different variety of Sashiko threads, the traditional Egyptian cotton white Sashiko threads, the Sashiko threads that came with this kit that I bought. And then as I turn over, I am into my Sue Spargo project area. So this was the project that that I started at Tanca Verde. It was the Madeline Island School of the Arts class that was held in Tucson with Sue Spargo, and I'm ready to get this one done too. So I pulled out the project. I chose as many varieties of different types of threads, and you can see they all fit in here. There's so many different pockets, some different types of ribbon, needles, and then there's these additional pockets. So in this little one I have all my little beads, and look at those tiny hexies, aren't they cute? Charms that I might want to use on this project, threads that I haven't wound on. I like to wind them on these Cosmo stars, and then different tools that Sue Spargo, her company, her son designed. Isn't that great, these additional pockets? And in this big pocket here, I have the very first creative stitching book. I bought this pattern at the Stitching Post toned down circle sampler because this is going to help me get all of my Sue Spargo circles done, because there's so many ideas in this one pattern. And then I fit in here my Yazzie wallet that I had previously embellished because it has a variety of my needles. It also, I put inside this wallet, I sewed a little piece of wool and put some labels for different types of needles depending on what you need for this stitching here. Threaders, a pad for drizzle stitches, so that all fits in here also. And it is amazing. So that is the Maxi Yazzie 3-piece bag. I'm very excited. So I have 2 big projects in here, and it's going to be able to hit the road with me. And I'll show you this Again, so if you decide you need one of these, it's the Maxi Yazzie 3-piece bag. And the dimensions are 15 by 15 by 3¼ inches. And it includes a set of 3 zippered pouches. Those pouches are invaluable. Now the next bag is quite interesting. It's called the Deluxe Double Organizer. This would be great for knitters. It's also great to carry your jewelry and all the additional things you need when you travel, but I have 2 different projects in it, and I plan to pack it some more because I have so much space. Now you can see how much smaller this is, but it's like this expanding cake box, and the handle is not on this side like the other bags are, but on the top. And this is called the Deluxe Double Organizer, and the size approximate is 24 by in centimeters. In inches, it's 9½ by 9½ by 6¾ because it's much wider. So it expands, and as you can see, there are 2 zippered sections. So let's open that. I love this handle at the top. I'm very excited to think about how I'm going to decorate this. And I have to pick another project because there's so much space in here. So look at this space. It expands. I am putting my primitive wool stitching in here. This one is buttermilk basin. My needles fit in these little pockets, and my thread for this project. Plus I still have all of this space here, and there's a pocket on the top. I think I need to move my actual project to the top here, but I wanted to show you. So the top half will be my buttermilk basin, and that is this project. Isn't that cute? The scalloped beeskeep heart. So I have it in different stages for demonstrating stitching. So I think I will move that to the top here so they're all together. And I think what I will pack in the bottom section of this because look at all this space. There's all these zippered pouches to add. Oh, I probably could fit 3 or 4 projects in here. So I think I'll have to pack another couple projects. And then these 2 bags will encompass everything I need to take for 4 days of class, which is truly amazing. So if you like this particular configuration, this is called the Deluxe Double Organizer, and it comes in different colors, red, but this is so perfect for knitters because the ball of yarn will fit in there. Very, very good. So I will put the link below. Otherwise, if you want to look, it's yazzie.com, and remember, Yazzie has 2 I's, Y-A-Z-Z-I-I. Well, I hope you enjoyed those 2 bags and that maybe they are in your future too. Off to stitching and packing more projects.
In line with our design philosophy to deliver innovative designs that are multifunctional and of the highest quality, I designed the next size down from our mini craft organizer large, and this is called our petite organizer. Now this works very well for your jewelry and makeup and a little bit of medication when you're traveling, and that's a perfect size. And like that, we have the same bag which has become very popular with crafters who are carrying little projects. Beaders as well love these bags to carry their little notions and keep their projects together. And as far as the colors we offer today, we have the black, navy, a nice vibrant red, the green, the hot pink, the aqua, and a purple. So we offer them in 7 colors in the Yazzie range of craft and jewelry organizers. Here are some inspirational ideas to embellish and personalize your mini craft organizer petite. This is a lovely elephant that's been embellished onto the bag, and in this particular case they've even done a different design on the reverse side of this bag. I'm going to take you through some of these designs. In the meantime, I will mention that the measurement of these bags, the dimensions are 12.5 by 16 and 6.5 centimeters, and in inches, it is 5 inches by 6.4 by 2.6 inches. And this is when embellishments done on the top surface and some of the side as well. I'm sure this will inspire you to go and create some beautiful embellishments on your bags and cover-ups.
Hello everyone, I'm Becky Goldsmith from Piece of Cake, and I want to show you the mini organizer in the petite size from Yazzie, because just looking at a photograph of this thing does not do it justice. So you unzip it, and inside there are, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zippered spaces for you to put things in. It's big enough to hold a donut full of the Superior's Masterpiece bobbins, and you could put more pencils in here. I just put 1. I included some Wonder Clips in mine because I like having a few Wonder Clips with me when I travel. They're handy. I've put in this one my needle case. By the way, there's a free pattern for this at pieceofcake.com. Look under the free pattern tab. I included some scissors. These are my Karen K. Buckley small scissors that I sew with most evenings. This is a pair of Elan scissors for paper, but you could also use for fabric. And then I like to put my needle threader here, the Bowen Easy Threader. And I went ahead and put some Stitch in Heaven, you know, the stuff, the thread conditioner. That's where I put that. And zip that up. You could fit more things in here, and you could arrange yours differently than I've arranged mine. And I think I might change what's in the different pouches depending on what I was sewing on. But even with all of that, you can zip it closed, and there's room for more stuff. It's handy, it's cute, and it's functional. And speaking of its cuteness, I haven't done this yet, but you can decorate your mini pouch, your mini petite organizer. I have seen some people do wool applique on a piece of wool and then stitch it to the organizer. You could do it as one panel. You could maybe wrap it around and sew it to the fabric base. But honestly, just having it on one side is plenty, and I expect I'll be doing that to my own organizer before long. So here's the blue one. It also comes in a lovely shade of purple, and in a beautiful shade of green, and in a bright festive kind of pink fuchsia. So there's the group of mini organizers in the petite size. I hope you have fun with yours. May you have many happy stitches. Thanks for watching.
In embroidery, we use beeswax to wax our threads, and I had that in this bag, and I had it in the car and didn't think anything about it, and I took it out of the car and I picked up the bag and it was soaked with wax, the entire bag, and I thought I had ruined it. So I took it inside, took everything out, and I put it in the washing machine, figuring that, well, it couldn't get any worse. I took it out, let it dry. It looks brand new. I was never so happy. No seams got ruined. The zipper was still fine. So I couldn't be more pleased with my Zazzy bag after having washed it with wax in it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First bag we introduced in 2001 was the Mini Craft Organizer Large, and the style number is CA14. This was exactly the prototype that I designed to start my business, and I'm going to show it to you. I can put my makeup, some of my jewelry in there, more jewelry, can keep my medication and personal items. And I do keep my phone chargers, my cords, etc. in here. And this was my concept of a perfect travel bag that I could carry on all my international trips. The day I was leaving for India, I passed through Sydney and I met an elderly lady who was 85 on the day, and she was a cross-stitch teacher. She looked at that prototype of the travel bag and said, this would make a perfect craft bag, and she insisted I take it to craft stores to show it to them, and she was convinced that they would find a lot of interest in this bag. It's lightweight, it's soft, everything is viewable in there. It's amazing how much things can fit. You've got 8 pockets in here, and they fit all your craft accessories and notions. The other idea that a lot of customers of mine are doing now is they've reached a point where after they've used this bag for that many years, they decide to embellish the bags. So whether you have scraps of your wool or any other ideas to embellish the bag, you can create the patch outside the bag and whip stitch it on your bag. This bag is 12 years old. A quilting teacher used it for 12 years, decided that the fabric looked a little tired. It was a little pilled as well with the overusage of it, and decided to add this layer to the bag to make it, to personalize it and make it special. I think they're amazing little ideas, and it does teach you some techniques. People run classes of them. There's some kits available worldwide. We do have a lot of support around these bags because they work a little bit harder than just working as an ordinary bag. You can be quite creative. This is a Sashiko project done on one of our bags, on the Mini Craft Organizer Large.
Hello everyone, I'm Becky Goldsmith with Piece of Cake, and this is the Yazzie Mini Organizer in the large size. It is bigger than the Mini Organizer Petite, which I've shown in another video. I'm going to set that aside and show you the Mini Large Organizer. So, this is how you open it. There's a zipper. It's one of those double zippers, so you can zip and unzip from both sides. You open it up, and the top flap has a zippered see-through compartment. Then there's, for lack of a better word, I'm going to call them pages. There's a page that's got another double zipper that is divided into two compartments, and another page with two zippered compartments. Then there's this page with one large zippered compartment, and this another one, another page with another large zippered compartment. And then at the very back there's like a secret compartment because you can't really see into it, but it's full across the back of the Yazzie organizer. There's a zippered compartment. So you can fit all kinds of things in here, and because it's fabric, it's flexible. So things fit better than they would if this was, say, something rigid. It's quilted fabric. It's very strong. This is nice. And this is another Yazzie organizer that, because it's soft-sided, if you wanted to make a decorative cover, you can sew it right to it. And that's fun to do. If you're going to make a zippered or a cover for your Yazzie, maybe the best thing to do it on is a felted wool background, and then whether you do wool applique or applique with cotton cloth onto that wool, it works. You just stitch it to the Yazzie, and then you've made your little container even cuter than it is already. So the mini organizers, large and small, come in a variety of colors. Each one of them is very nice. I hope you have enjoyed this introduction to the mini organizer in the large size, and I hope you enjoy the product. May you have many happy stitches. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm Katie, here with your Maker's Minute. Today we're talking about the Yazzie brand of organizational bags. If you're like me, you like stuff to put your stuff in. These bags will have you saying Yazzie to organizing all of your things. All of your things. These craft pouches come in 3 different sizes and are a great way to start out your organization. Need something a little more substantial? These organizers come in different sizes, different colors, and include a variety of different pouches. And each compartment comes with that Hallmark see-through window. So you'll always know what's in each pocket. Or if you need something to organize those smaller items in your life, this oval organizer is larger, but the inserts have smaller pockets so that you can put those itty bitties right in the right place. And of course, there's an interchangeable bag as well. You know, for those of us who perhaps have multiple sets. And finally, the circular knitting needle case. But these bags aren't just for your crafts. Consider them for your next adventure when it comes to organizing your jewelry, cosmetics, or toiletries. So whether you're looking to get organized in your craft life or your travel life, we have just the bag for you. Stop on over to makersmercantile.com to shop the entire selection and color options available right now.
The third bag we introduced in 2001 was our craft travel wallet, and they do work really well for jewelry, makeup, accessories, medications when you're traveling, and also as little needle cases, something for your minor threads, and you'll see the functionality of it. So this is how you can fill it with your bits of jewelry, and when you travel you can keep it in your handbag and it stays tucked away and it's viewable if anybody wants to see the contents. The same bag is used for your crafty bits and pieces, smaller items preferably, and needles, your sewing machine feet, etc. And the fact that it folds up into this little wallet is a great idea. And if you feel like you need it to embellish the bag, you can do some wonderful stuff on the bag. The measurements of this bag is 11.5 centimeters by 14 centimeters. and in inches it is 4.5 by 5.5 inches.
Hi, I thought I'd follow up the Yazzie post on their Yazzie travel wallet with just a small demonstration of how I did my travel wallet. So there's a couple of things you need. You're going to need, of course, the Yazzie travel wallet. This comes in all kinds of sizes, or all kinds of colors, I should say. And you're going to need the Cape Flower Needle Keeper pattern by Sue Spargo. This pattern you can get as a pattern or you can get as a kit. If you're going to get the kit, you won't be able to make some of the changes unless you have some extra scraps of matching wool, but we'll get into that in a minute. So first, let me discuss the travel wallet. So the travel wallet, as I said, it comes in many colors, and it's 5 3/4 by 4.5 inches. It has 4 clear plastic pouches with zippers. And if you flip it over, this is the outside. So that's pretty plain for me. So what I decided is that I needed to jazz up my Yazzie. So what I did is I created mine using Sue's pattern. The first thing you might notice in the pattern, Sue's actually only has the one flower on the face, and I decided to do 2. So I had extra wool that matched this kit, and so I was able to add the additional flower. I think it looks nice because when I close mine, you can see the flowers on this side or on that side. So I think that makes it really cute. So what I'm going to suggest is you buy this pattern. It's $32 American, I believe, and you should be able to get that at any of your Sue Spargo local shops that carry Sue Spargo. And of course you're going to need this Yazzie wallet. So what I did is I simply followed the instructions, and Sue has great instructions in here for doing the travel wallet. So just follow along. Once you get to the inside is where I decided to make some more changes. And as you can see, here's the inside. I decided that these clear pouches, I wanted to be clear so that I could see what items I need to grab quickly. But I also wanted to have a pouch that was kind of private. So, I don't know, I go to a lot of retreats and stuff, and I could slide a little bit of cash in here. I could slide my credit card in. I could slide things that don't necessarily want to be seen. And then I have my needle stop. I can't live without needle stops. Every bag I make, everything I make, I always have needle stops. I simply cut a piece of wool the exact same size as one of these sections. I then decided to cut out some circles, do a little fancy stitching on here, and when I thought that looked good enough, I just took it, grabbed some Wonderfill Invisifill 80 weight thread, and I stitched along the edge and whip stitched this all down on 3 of the sides, and left this bottom side by this zipper open. Now I did that making sure that of course you don't catch your zipper and you don't catch this zipper, and the reason I left this bottom edge originally open was so that I could slide some quilt batting in here. So I slid some pieces that I had, some scraps, and patted it up till I thought it looked okay and would have enough oomph to hold my needles. And then I just simply whip stitched it down again with Invisifill, and you can't even see it. Another idea I've come up with, I'm going to be redoing it. I've come up with something else I want to try, but I would recommend you could couch down one of a lovely number 3 weight organza thread, and along all these edges. And again, just make sure you don't cover your needle stop. And then I took a look at it and I thought, well, it still doesn't look jazzy enough, so I cut 1/4 inch ribbon, cut 4 pieces, and I simply added them onto these little bias sections that are nicely sewn onto the travel wallet. And I just simply covered those by, again, just whip stitching it down. It holds it really well, and it makes a really cute looking needle case. So this is just my short clip. If you have any further questions, you can always contact me through Facebook at Sherry Sews, or Instagram, Sherry Manson. But I hope you enjoyed this little video on the Yazzie travel wallet. Oh, remember, post pictures and tag it Yazzie travel wallet Cape flower, and I'd like to see what you guys do. Okay, bye for now.
So this is the Yazzie travel wallet. It can be used for jewelry or crafting things. I, of course, am using it for crafting things. Inside, here's the pink, and this is the purple. Inside, I have all of my needles. So because I do a lot of different types of embroidery, I have a lot of different types of needles. So I was able to, in each one, I've got my embroidery needles, my betweens, my beading needles. This is my random, my chenille, tapestry, any that I just have a few of, I keep in this one. And then this is the one that I use a lot for embroidery. So I've got all of my milliner's needles, more in a different size, more in a different size, and then my sharps. And it's nice just to have, I have multiples in here. It's really nice to have them all handy and not have to go digging for something when I need it. And I can pop this into one of my other Yazzie bags that I'm taking on the road or to a workshop, and have everything that I need here. I don't have to worry that I've forgotten anything. I love how compact they fold up. Oops, except this one I have a lot of needles in there. But even so, you can see it's not super thick. They're all protected in there. And I really love these little pouches. So this is, again, the Yazzie travel wallet.
Okay, you've seen how that bag works fabulously as a makeup jewelry carrier. Your medications, often you're just looking for that one perfect bag to take everything with you. I know we're at a point where we're not traveling for a long time, but I must admit for the last 20 years, it was quite a big seller for us from a point of view that people went on a cruise or anywhere and they're carrying whatever they need to in one bag. Now, this is just to give you another idea that on the pocket that I showed you with the phone and stuff that you can put your phone and keys in here, if you want to create a little patch or embellish your bag, this is with Sashiko embroidery. The sample has been made. It's beautiful. It just makes it look different from everybody else in the class, and it personalizes it to the point where you've used your imagination and creativity to make a bag that you like. And if you were giving it to family members or any friends or sisters, they make perfect gifts for Christmas and birthdays because people end up using the bags. They're not just like little furniture sitting in their wardrobes, but they definitely work as a bag that they're going to end up using.
Are you as busy as I am? I am always on the go. It seems like I have lots of doctor's appointments and ball games, and nothing I hate worse than to waste my time. So I carry my little oval craft bag by Yazzie. And this little bag, it's not big. It's like 9.5 inches or something. And it holds so much stuff. This has 11 interior pockets with zippers, so nothing gets moved around. And today I am carrying my little project. I need to mark like hundreds of half square triangles. So I have a hard work surface. I have a template. I have my unmarked squares, and I have some marked squares. And then I have rulers and scissors, goodies. I have my cutter in case I get that far. I have pins, and I have all this room. I mean, this really holds a lot in a compact space. As I have carried cross stitch, embroidery, English paper piecing in here, and I mean, I get a lot done while I'm sitting there and I'm not reading old magazines. I mean, this is just a very, very handy size. And it's got the nice sturdy handles, or you can do what I do, and I just take it and I plop it in my purse and off I go.
At the Houston International Quilt Show, and I just stopped. Is it pronounced Yazzie?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, these are the best things that were ever created. I absolutely love them. I've had mine for over 10 years. I have 2 of them, and I need more. They are just perfect. My husband even loves them for all of our sewing and everything. So you've got to come down here and see these. They're awesome.
Thank you. Hi, this is Yasmita Megan, the designer of the Yazzie Craft Storage Bags. I'm here today for this session to cover a few more products, and the first bag I'm going to introduce is our Oval Craft Organizer. It's one of our mid-sized bags, and I'd like to show it to you internally and externally, and then give you a very good idea of how the same bag can be used for your makeup and jewelry if you were to go away and carry a few of your personal items with you. So these bags are handcrafted in India. They're made on a treadle machine. I just want you to know that all of these are very multifunctional. And when I finish showing you this bag, you will see that it's quite a handy little bag for any craft that you might be doing. So firstly, let me show you the external pocket. So this is a little handle over your shoulder. And if you look at this bag, it's great. It's got an external pocket that you can keep your phone in here, or your keys, or whatever you need to. That works really well. It's got the little flap, or whatever you call that, right down on the other side, so that it's secure. It's not going to fall over. It can carry quite a bit of the weight, and it's very well quilted and soft and lightweight as well. So let's just go into the first page. I'm going to start right up here and show you the first page. In fact, maybe I'll take it this way. So what you have, it's a full pocket in here. You've got a lot of depth. You can fill a lot of product in here. It's a full pocket with no divisions on this sleeve. On this one, I've separated it down the middle. So you can have two vertical pockets, and you can fit larger items on either side. It just depends if this suits you better. We just wanted to give you lots of options for these bags. And if you decide you prefer just the full pockets, you're more than welcome to unpick the center part. It's just threads in here. You just unpick it very gently, and you will end up with a full pocket in here. Then we've come to the middle of the bag, and on both sides I've given you a horizontal direction of pockets, two at the bottom with a centerpiece, and two longer horizontal pockets. Again, if you want to separate these, if that suits you better, you're welcome to do that. But this is another configuration to keep smaller items, and that was my thinking. I'll just bring the camera a little closer to the bag, and we'll okay, so that's the bag. Now let's get back onto the next page. Again, just like we had at the end a full pocket, we've given you an extra full pocket here. You can fill your fabrics, and the last pocket that I had at the edge of the bag, you can stuff it pretty solid in here with lots of items, and you'll be surprised how much of product fits perfectly in this bag. It's a good mid-sized bag away from our mini craft organizer, because if you're looking at it perfectly, you will see that it's a center zipper. It also fits a nice size hoop at the edge as well. So this is a center zipper. And the beauty of this bag compared to our mini craft organizer that opens in one direction, this lays on your table or your lap where you've got, space that's in question. If you're sitting in front of your TV and doing some work at night, you've got all your product in here. And why most people are really enjoying this bag, and they come back and tell me that they prefer it because of the center zipper. They like the fact that they can flip the pages both directions. It's like a little book that they've got in front of them, and everything is accessible, viewable, and it fits at least another third of the product from your mini craft organizer, which is a CA14, our first bag that I showed you in the last session. This one is CA140, and if you look it up, you'll see that it is more expensive than your mini craft organizer, but as you can see, there's a lot more labor that goes into making this bag. And I have to admit, this has become quite a popular bag amongst everybody. English paper piecing, they just love this product. They take it away, jewelry makers, they carry their projects together. It's a secure bag, it's lightweight, a good size, almost looks like a handbag, and you can use it as a handbag if that's what you prefer. So now I'm going to show you the version of this particular bag that works as a jewelry carrier and makeup as well. So we'll run through that little video clip to give you a very good idea of that bag used in a multifunctional way for jewelry and makeup.
I'm Nicole from Wild Boho, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my Yazzie craft organizers. I have two of them here. This is, I'm going to show you first the little card that comes with it. This is the Yazzie Craft Box Fabric Top. And then this is the Oval Sewing Box. So you can see I've embellished both of them. Each one I embellished slightly differently. So today I'm going to walk you through how I embellished them. And I'll let you take a peek inside so you can see what you would use them for. So let's get started. So I'm first going to show you my Yazzie Oval Sewing Box. I really love this. This is the perfect lap-sized organizer. You can peek inside. I've got some threads. Mine is empty right now because I'm mid-project, but I've got my scissors in here. What I like to use this pouch for is I will fill it with all my beads and threads and everything that I need it for, and then I can carry it around with me with my project. If I'm upstairs, if I'm downstairs, if I'm on the couch watching TV, it's perfect for keeping handy with the project that I'm currently working on. Everything that you need to embellish this, you'll need this purple Heat and Bond light. This is made by ThermoWeb. I use this for all of my appliques. This is the fabric that I used. It's from Tula Pink's Curiouser and Curiouser collection, which will be out in a few months. You can see I used this rose, and then this is my version of it. So you can see side by side. This version has a lot of beads on it. And then you're going to need an iron. So whatever fabric you're embellishing, you've got your Heat and Bond and you have an iron. So for this one, I embroidered directly onto the pouch. So you can check out my other videos for exactly how this process works to do an applique. I also have a Craftsy class if you want a really detailed class on this. But once I get my applique, I ironed it directly onto the Yazzie pouch. I knew that this one was going to have a lot of bead work, and it's really hard to iron it on once you have all this bead work. And I'm going to bring it up nice and close so you can really see all of the beads. So on the back side, this is not what you're going to see if you have this. I had a ton of threads under here. From my stitching, I had little knots. If you've ever seen the back of any of my projects, I call them my hoop guts. I really like looking at them when they're in a hoop, but when I'm opening a pouch, that's not what I want to see. I also like to keep my needles tucked somewhere nearby a project, and I didn't want to always be poking them through. Even though it's a soft fabric, I didn't want to be poking them through the fabric. So this is a piece of wool felt that I just cut to this shape. I used a little tiny few drops of Elmer's school glue. I lightly hit it with an iron, and then I just blanket stitched all the way around, and it gives me a really nice backing for it. Covers up my threads, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out. Now I'm going to show you another option on my other pouch. So this is the Yazzie Craft Box Fabric Top. This one is really great for keeping projects that you want to take with you. Say you're traveling to a retreat or a workshop, or even just taking a car ride somewhere, you're road tripping. This one is great because it has all of these little pouches that you can fill with your notions, your threads. It has 4 pouches. They're soft on the back, and then they've got the clear vinyl on the front so you can see through them. This is also sized to fit a smaller hoop, so it's great because it can keep all your stuff together. Now, you can see that I left the back of this one for you to see. You're going to use the same items with this method of applique. So, what I did with this one, I have my fabric. This is from Anna Maria Horner's Bright Eyes collection, which comes out in the spring of 2021. So I
cut this fabric, not super close, ironed the heat and bond onto the back of it, and then I did my fussy cutting. Once I had that done, before I ironed it onto this, I did all of my embroidery. So I'm holding this, only it was cut out as a square because I didn't fussy cut it till the very end. And then I was embroidering. I'll bring it closer so you can see. I'll pull the light over a little. I did lots of chain stitching on this one. I did not do a ton of beadwork because I knew I was going to be ironing this onto the pouch after I stitched it. And so you can see I have a chain stitch border, but that left me with the inside. I can see my stitches. That might be fine for you. Again, I like to use this as an area where I can put my needles. I can stick little pins on if I want. So again, what I'm going to do is I have this piece of wool felt. I'm going to put a few drops of Elmer's School Glue on the back, and I'm just going to blanket stitch this on. And then I have a nice wool background covering up any of my stitches from the applique. And that's the Craft Box fabric top. I love both of these bags. Can't recommend them enough. And there you have it. Hi, this is Nicole Vogelsinger of Wild Boho. Today I'm going to be taking you through a tutorial, step by step, how to applique and embroider this bag. This is the Yazzie iron storage bag, and inside perfectly fits the Oliso Mini Project Iron. I have a purple iron and a purple bag. You can coordinate however you like, and I will put links for everything in the description of this video. So I'm going to talk you through picking a fabric that you love, cutting it up, appliquing it onto here, and then beginning the embroidery process. So let's get started. So I have my fabric, I have an ironing board, and I have my iron. First, I'm going to turn on my iron, and the cool thing about this is it says that there's a resting side. So when you store it, this one says storage side. You store it that way, and you can hang it up or put it in your Yazzie pouch. But when you're using it, you're going to flip it to where it says resting side, and then I turn it on. I'm using a cotton fabric, so I turn it all the way up. And I'll let that heat up for a minute. So this is the piece of fabric that I'm using. It's an Anna Maria Horner print. It's one of my favorites. I've done embroidery with this before. You can see I have a section that I cut away. I'm not exactly sure what I want to use yet when I embroider my pouch, because there's so many really cool things in this fabric. I really like these vines. I like this leaf, the fern, a lot, and the vines that go up with that. And I like some of these flowers. I think it might be fun to add some of the pink flowers, some of the white flowers. So I think I'm going to press this section and see where we go from there. So I'm not touching the iron, I'm just feeling that it's warm enough. I'm going to press my fabric to get all of the wrinkles out. This helps when you embroider, because if you don't iron first, you're just embroidering over bumps and lines in your fabric. I've had this one folded up for a while, saving it for a project. And so I just want to get a lot of the lines out of the fabric. I don't let the iron sit on any section. I can just quickly run this little iron over it. And that's about good. I've got my fern. I've got these lines with the vines. I'm gonna cut a few of these flowers. I'm not sure which ones yet, so I'll just give this a little bit more of a press. So that's the first step. Find your fabric and iron it. And then I'm gonna show you next, we're gonna iron it again, but after we add a product. So I'm going to finish this up and then head on to the next step. So besides your fabric and ironing board and some general embroidery supplies, this is the only other product that you'll need for a project like this. This is the Heat and Bond Light. It's an iron-on adhesive. It says it's great for lightweight fabrics, machine applique, quilting. It's great for hand embroidery. I use it all the time. It has a dull matte side and a shiny side. So your fabric, you're always going to lay your fabric on the shiny side, and that's how you're going to iron it on. You can see my piece is in my fabric is cut into two different sections. The fern, I wanted to cut around some of the other elements so that I could preserve them. And so I've taken the biggest piece and laid it on flat. Now, the one thing that you don't want to do as you're ironing this on, you don't want your iron to touch the shiny Heat and Bond because it's going to get all gunky on your iron. So that's why I love using this iron, because it is small and the little point, I can easily keep it just on the fabric and not have to worry about it hitting the Heat and Bond at all and getting all sticky and gummy. So what I'm doing now is just lightly running the iron over my fabric. Because I'm using a small little desk-sized ironing board, I'm going to shift it around. You can see I've got tiny little points, and this point is just brilliant for this sort of project. I can lift the iron up and just gently get those little sections down. You also don't want to let the iron sit on any section of this as you're ironing it. So I'm going to let it rest, shift my ironing board. I might turn this way. I like to check and feel. Your fabric is going to start to feel a little bit more solid once it's ironed on and you know that it's on. It's hard to explain it, but once you do it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to get those edges again really carefully. And then I'm just making my way down the length of this fabric, making sure that the Heat and Bond is secured to all the little edges. I might cut those little leaves out, so I want to make sure that it's adhered nicely. I'll move it down again. I'm going to keep ironing those edges. I like to do the fussy cutting after this point because it's much easier to fussy cut fabrics once they have the Heat and Bond adhered to the back of them. It's almost like you're cutting out a piece of paper rather than a piece of fabric that wants to bend and move all over for you. So the fussy cutting is so much more enjoyable once this is on it. And I'm going to shift it this way. I'm going to do a few more of these edges here. So I'm just going to keep doing this. I've got my fern. When I'm done this, I'll let it cool for a minute and then I'll just check and see. I'll make sure that it really is adhered on. If there's any sections that are still a little loose, I'll run the iron over them one more time. So I'm going to finish this up and then I'll talk you through the fussy cutting stage of this project. So we've come to what is my favorite part of the project, and that's fussy cutting. You can see that I have my fabric that's backed with the Heat and Bond. You can see when I hold it up, it doesn't fall. It's like I'm holding a piece of paper, making it super easy to fussy cut. I also like to use these Fiskars micro tip scissors. They're the spring action ones. I really like these because the micro tip is great for getting into tiny little sections. Now, I'm not going to cut these too carefully. For some projects, I might cut around every little green leaf that you see there. I'm not going to do that with this project. I also am not going to need this entire leaf. So I have my Yazzie bag here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to use my applique that we just created along the sides Now, just to get an idea of size, this would be too big if I were to lay this leaf like that. I also don't really like how that looks. So I know I'm not going to use every piece of what I've cut out here. I might have it come up at an angle. So until I know the exact placement, I'm just going to roughly fussy cut around here. I'm not going to spend tons of time. The same with some of these other elements. I know that I really like these flowers, so I'll probably put a flower along there. That will mostly fit on, but I'm still going to lose some of the edges, and I'm okay with that for this project. I kind of want it to look like the flowers and vines are moving off the edges of this. I'm also not going to do it on the lid of this. I'm just going to have mine go around the sides of the bag. So, get comfy. This is where you're going to spend a lot of time just cutting out pieces that you're going to want to fussy cut, or that you're going to want to use on your bag. So, for instance, say I'm going to use this flower. I also do want some of the gray background to show, so I'm not going to cut too closely there because I really like the gray and I think it'll look good against my purple bag. I can fix this up at any point, but I'm basically just going to cut little bits off, and you're going to keep the paper backing on until it's time to iron it onto your bag. Now you can see this didn't get hit with the heat as much. That's totally okay. It's still going to iron on when I get to that point, so I don't worry about that. And I'm going to keep fussy cutting, and then we will get to the next part of ironing this onto the bag. So I have been fussy cutting pieces from my fabric, and I have what I like to call fabric stickers because I still have the paper backing. I have a little sticker of fabric cut out, and now I'm going to decide on my placement. So I have my iron plugged in, and it's on the highest setting. I like to just run it carefully along my Yazzie bag to get a few of the little wrinkles out, also to get the surface a little hot. Now, I don't have an ironing board behind this. I don't recommend like holding the iron here and holding your hand behind it because it's going to get too hot. But if you're just doing this lightly, you're going to be fine. So I just get the surface hot. I am going to do something that's very hard after you've spent all this time fussy cutting. I want to use a portion of this, not the whole thing. So I'm going to snip a piece right here, and then I'm going to just cut these leaves off. Now I can use this piece, I can cut off little bits of it, attach it later, but I'm just going to set it aside for now. So now I have this piece, and I want to put it on the front of my bag, coming up like that. This is a fiddly part. It takes a little bit of patience. I'm going to take the paper backing off of my fern piece, and you'll see that I'm left with, it's shiny, and this is the adhesive part. So I'm going to place it right on the bag, coming up at an angle, and that's going to fit just perfectly there. I might shift it over a little bit. Again, I'm going to lightly press this on with the iron, just holding this in place. Now I'm also going to take a little mini ironing board that I have when I'm done, when it's all in place, just to put some more heat on it and really make sure that it's secure. I can feel the heat through the bag right now, but it's not burning me. It's not unbearable. It's just a little heat from the iron. You just really want to get it hot enough that it stays in place so that I can get my little ironing board and set it behind it. Okay, so now I have a little mini ironing board. And again, this is a tricky little spot here because it's the front of the bag. So I just have to adjust it, try and find the best angle where I can actually set the iron on it and really let it heat up. So you can see I'm gonna have to do this in little sections. It's a little fiddly. You might notice that the edges of your fabric don't want to stick onto this background to the bag, but that's fine because we are going to embroider over that. So you just want it on here enough so that you can embroider and it stays in place while you're doing the embroidery. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to place my pieces. I might have to cut little bits off. But remember, once you decide on a placement, you peel the backing off and then hit it with some heat from your iron. I'm going to go all the way around and I'll come back when I have a finished piece to show you. Okay, so I'm just ironing this last little piece on. And again, be really careful if you are doing this part without an ironing board behind the iron. I normally wouldn't recommend this at all, but this bag is made up of several really thick layers, so I barely feel the heat behind it. But just be careful as you're doing it. So I've got that piece on. I just hit the bag with one more bit of iron to really make sure everything's on there. This fabric is just gorgeous. I've been holding on to it for a while, waiting for the perfect project, and I think I'm really really happy with how this one turned out. So we're getting it with the iron. Okay, let's zip it up and see how it looks. This is the final step before you start embroidery. I wouldn't recommend using your bag like this without it being embroidered because although the heat and bond will keep the fabric on here, it's not a long-term solution. And it could, after a while, come off of the bag. So I like to do the next step of embroidery. And I'll share a few of the resources that I have on my YouTube channel. Lots of embroidery videos. I can put the link for my Craftsy class in here, which is also embroidery. And I have 2 embroidery books that you can check out. But I'll talk you through the basics next. And then you are ready to embroider your own bag. So we have appliqued our bag. Here is what it looks like. What you will see when you have finished ironing all of your fabric on. And then take it up to the next level. This is what it will look like after you have embroidered it. Now, I don't recommend not embroidering it. The heat and bond will stay on and will adhere for a while. The more wear and tear that your bag gets, though, these little pieces are going to want to come off. So you don't have to fully embroider it. You don't need to embroider every little flower or every little leaf. But you do want, on each piece of the fabric, you are going to want some thread and some stitches because that's what's going to keep it on this bag. I'll show you the inside of what it looks like. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that it doesn't bother me to see my work on a project. So the inside of this bag, there's a close-up. I've kept my stitches small. I haven't let my threads go from one end to the other. I don't have big pieces of thread. I've kept my tiny stitches in here. You do want to be aware of that because you don't want your iron catching the stitches and catching the thread when you're putting it in and out of the bag. So you do want to be aware of that. But you do want some stitches on here. Also, with the embroidery of this bag, I start and end my stitches with a knot in the thread. So let's talk about threads first and all of the supplies that you'll need, and then I'll give you a few tips that you're going to want to keep in mind as you embroider. So you just need some basic supplies. This is a great needle collection. Any sort of embroidery applique needle. A sampler pack is great because it'll give you a lot of sizes, and you will need a variety of sizes as you are working with beads. these beads, these are size 8 beads, and then these are bugle beads. These have a very tiny hole, so I needed a really small needle to embroider these on. These I can get away with using a larger needle. So that's why a variety pack of needles really does help you with a project like this. As far as threads, I love the Suspargo Eleganza threads. These are made by Wonderfill Specialty Threads, and I'll put links for all of this below. These are really great. It's a thin thread, good for beading, but also if you just want to simply embroider this bag, these threads are great. They're really pretty and they will hold up to the wear of this bag. And then just a pair of scissors. So very simple, the items that you're going to need for this. When you do get started, like I was saying, you are going to want to tie a knot at the start and end of your thread. So when I thread a needle, I tie the knot and I get started with stitching. And then when I'm done, after I've added beads, I tie off my thread and do a small knot inside. Especially when I'm working with beads on a project like this, where it is going to get moved around a lot, I like to tie a knot on to really secure my threads and stitches. As far as the best stitches to use for a project like this, I find it's best to keep it simple. Use the back stitch and the stem stitch. You can use them with or without beads. They will really stand up to the use that this bag will get. I have videos for both of those stitches on my YouTube channel, which I'll link below, as well as I've written 2 embroidery books, both boho embroidery. You can read more about it and learn other stitches. And if you really enjoy this and you want to take your applique and embroidery to the next level, check out my Craftsy class, where I encourage you to use your favorite fabrics as well as beads and threads to create textures and have fun with your embroidery projects. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see what you create. So today I'm sharing what's in my Yazzie. This is the Notions 3-piece pouch set. It's the CA510 in fuchsia. And this is the craft project folder. It's the CA540, also in fuchsia. What I like about the combination of these two is that I can fit the Notions set right inside of the project folder. And I can keep everything together for one project. What I'm working on right now is this stunning needlepoint from the Conservatory Craft Collection by Anna Maria Horner. So I keep the paper in here so I can see the colors, and I can keep the needlepoint in here. And then in the pouch, the 3-piece pouches, I'm able to keep all of the wool. I'm going to be adding beads later, so I've picked out colors, and a pair of scissors in the color I'm currently working with. And they fit nicely together. I can set it aside when I'm not working on it. I can carry it with me, take it in the car if I'm going on a road trip. So this is, again, the front and the back. The back is great because you could applique something on here. It's nice and padded. It has a little handle. And I love this for current projects. I could use several of these because I always have lots of projects going. So again, it's the craft project folder and the Notions 3-piece pouch set. So this is the deluxe double organizer from Yazzie. When it's all closed, its measurements are 9.5 by 9.5 by 6.7 inches. And then it has an upper section and a lower section. And they're each about the same, except the width is 3.7 and 3. So I'll show you that. So yes, this is the deluxe double organizer. And what I love about this is the squareness, first of all, because I can fit a lot of stuff in it, but also the 2 sections that unzip. So this is the upper section. In here you have a pouch. I don't have anything in this little pouch right there, but if I had directions for a project to slip in here, that would be a great spot for it. I have my beading needles, my beading trays in this clear zipper pouch, And then here, you can see that it expands further, but right now this is all I have in here. I've got my scissors and my glasses. So then that's the upper section. And then the lower section, you can see I have lots of beads. I've got my threads. If you like the Sue Spargo or the Wonderfill specialty threads, I like that you can fit the rolls, the spools of thread standing straight up and down. And you can fit, I could probably fit another roll there with that. I've got my DMC pearl cotton wound up. I've got the beads that coordinate with the threads that I'm using for this project. This is all stuff that I'm currently using for one project. So it's a pretty detailed project and I've got a lot of stuff in it. So here again, I have my tubes of beads. I could probably fit one more tube here. So I could fit about 4 per section. I've got more of my threads. This section I just have beads. I could probably fit about 2 more tubes of beads there. The last clear pouch, I've got lots of beads in this one, all my purples and blues that I'm using. And then there's still yet another zipper pouch. This one would also be great if you were storing something flat, like directions to a project. So what I love this for beading so much because all of my tubes of beads fit wonderfully in here. And let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 tubes of beads with room for several more. So for one big project, this is a really great bag. And a lot of times I get asked where I get my beads. These are, you can find these at Joann, at Michael's. They're the John Bead check seed beads, which I love. So then when I'm done with that, I can zip up this bottom section, zip up my top section. The handle is on the top, which I love so much. This is what it looks like all zipped up from the side. You can see I've still got room to expand this section. And I'm still going to embellish the top of this. I'm not sure I think I'm doing something crazy quilt inspired. So I will be sure to share pictures when I've done that. But that was the deluxe double organizer. And I will link to where you can find this in the description of the video.
Hey everybody, hi, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. I am in the process of packing up my Yazzie bag to get ready to go to the coast. We're going to be gone for the long 4th of July weekend. If any of you make any orders on our store site, please be patient. We will get them out in the mail as soon as we return. I was wanting to take a project down there with me because I like to take something to work on while we're down there. And my husband's oldest daughter is bringing his granddaughter and a little friend, and they are both 13. And so I was trying to think of what to make, and then I remembered I had a UFO from years ago, and it was a pattern that I had asked the ladies in my DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution, I'd asked them if they wanted to help me make this quilt and we would do a donation for it. It is the American Dream pattern by Angela Pingle. I absolutely love this pattern, and I think it's the perfect project to do for this weekend to celebrate our country's 245th birthday. It's pretty simple because the blocks are already made. The ladies had each made up a portion of the quilt so that our chapter could have done it together. I took a page out of the pattern and kind of wrote up some instructions so they could each make 6 blocks, and I gave them the fabric and cut it and everything to make sure the cutting was right, and all they had to do was put it together. But what I got back from them was a whole conglomeration of a bunch of blocks that are here, and I've got scraps and I have blocks in bags, and I've just got this big kind of a mess. So I wanted to be able to go through it and sort it all out. And I think that sewing these blocks together is going to be a perfect experience and a lot of fun for these girls. So I'm going to take along my Fonz and Porter design wall that we're going to hang in the hallway down there. It's the only big wall I've got. And then we're going to put the blocks out according to the pattern. They kind of go all different directions to get a nice, pretty picnic quilt. That's the size this is going to be, is like a picnic quilt. And we're going to put them together, and I'll let the girls do the sewing. So won't that be fun? So anyway, I wanted to put together my Yazzie bag. This is the Quilter's Project bag, and I think this one is perfect because it is so deep. Look how deep that is. And I've got to carry, I'm going to carry my design wall in here, and this thing, huge. I've got my thread, and I love this one. Let me get this stuff out of the way and show you in this other camera. So this bag has all of these pockets and dividers in it, and I need to put my thread in here. I'll put this in this one. And I've got a little pair of scissors, some tweezers, and some needles in here, but I really don't need to pack a lot of notions because most of what I need is already at the coast. I've got some cozies in here that were made for me by a viewer for my rotary cutter. And I'll go ahead, I have one down there, but the girls might need an extra one to work with, and I've got a little pair of scissors. I should put them in the cozy, right? So they don't poke through the plastic. Very handy, love this. And I have a magnetic pin dish in here, and this zipper pocket works perfect for that because the pins want to stick there anyway, and then I can travel and they don't go anywhere. It's wonderful to have that. And I've got a couple other zipper pockets here that I don't need to do anything with. I wanted to put the pattern in one of these large pockets right here so that we've got it. Take that little paper just in case I need something out of it. Okay, so this is a nice big pocket to put the pattern in right there. And then back here, I've got a pretty deep pocket. I got stuff all over in here, don't I? Again, more scissors. There's my seam ripper, a friction marker, and a zip tie. You never know when you're going to need a zip tie, right? It has some little loop pockets right here that you can put knitting needles in, or crochet needles, or whatever, or seam rippers, whatever you wanted. And these are on top of another zipper pocket. This thing has more pockets than you can just imagine. But I like that it's nice and deep. So I'm actually going to pack my design wall in here. So that'll fit right in there. And then I have enough room in between these two to put all of my squares. Would you look at this? Look how much I can pack in here. That's crazy. I don't think I need this hanger. That's going to take up some space. And I've got more blocks here. But this is going to work just perfect to put all of this together. Look at that. Unbelievable. Design wall and all my blocks. Right in here. It's perfect. All in one case. There's my UFO. That's not going to be a UFO anymore after this weekend.
How many of you have heard of Yazzie bags? Yazzie has an amazing assortment of bags. She is based out of Australia, but she goes to a lot of the big events, and you can find her bags everywhere. But she designed a bag specifically for Wesley Design and Ruler Work. And so the bag that you have here is a bag that can be used in a lot of other ways, but it is amazing for storing your rulers. So this is called, we call this our ruler storage bag. You can find it on our website. This one has a lot of extra stuff in it, it looks like. So you'll see just how organized we are. I'm going to try to make it a little bit more organized before I show you. But this one comes it comes in actually like 7 different colors. So this is the bag that we take to a lot of events that we go to. So you see a lot of thread popping out here. But you see a lot of different compartments. So these amazing vinyl compartments allow you to see through, and then every single one of them has sections. So you can easily store, like if I wanted all of my thread right here in this section, then I would just put it all right there. I don't know why we didn't before, but then you can kind of keep it visual on where everything is and be able to easily access it. Next, we have my spacing gauges and my ruler feet, my scissors. And then, I found where I keep all of my circles on quilts templates right here. Here's a few of my sampler set templates. So this bag is amazing. A lot of people are saying they would love the ruler bag. This is an amazing prize for sure. So this would be a great one for to be able to win. This is a couple different slots. We have our feather templates in here. We've got our simple circles. This is our spinning feathers. So this is like a whole feather section, which is kind of fun. And then we've got some crosshair rulers, some of our miniature crosshair rulers. Ooh, and then this bag actually has some cool additions in the back, which may or may not be part of our standard ruler bag, because this is something new I haven't seen. But it looks like we've got some, like a clover pin section holder. So it's like a little pen holder area where you can store some of those, like maybe your sewing machine screwdriver and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. And then finally, a larger compartment to store those really big templates. And then on the very back, a really big compartment to store that crosshair ruler. So this will store the 8.5 inch crosshair ruler. Unfortunately, it's not big enough to store the 12.5 inch. So just as an FYI, this is great for the 8.5 inch crosshair ruler. So again, lots of comments. Tell us what you think. If you'd love to have that bag, then tell us which one. So you can go again to our website, sewcity.com, look up ruler bag and see all the different options we have available for colors. That might be fun. We of course like our teal color, but it also comes in black, purple, red, fuchsia. So lots of great colors that she's provided for that.
So I took my sewing machine with me and everything and packed up my Yazzie bag. I got to show you how great these Yazzie bags are. If you guys don't have these, they're not inexpensive, but I'll tell you what, they are the best thing if you're going to be traveling and wanting to sew at the same time. You guys, I picked this up at the show in Houston. I like the one, this one has the longer handles that go over my arm if I needed to. But this thing, it looks like it's chock full. It's not really, but I'll show you, I'll give you a little tour of it and show you what I got. So this is the highest quality stuff, you guys. Yazzie.com, I'll link to it below. So a lot of y'all had suggested, yeah, that's my old scan and cut in the back. I haven't, oh, there's my little pouch for my camera. I haven't switched it out yet. I got to take the new one out of the box. I got this pink case as it was a grab bag from Fat Quarter Shop. And a lot of you said put your rotary cutter in it. Y'all are so smart. Look at that. It fits perfect. Absolutely perfect. I love this. So there's my rotary cutter and a couple pair of scissors. And I have a screwdriver and a marker. And of course, you know, these are just things that I took along with me just in case I was going to need them. And I don't have a whole lot back here, those scissors I just got. Here's that new ruler. This is Quilter Select. Y'all, this is the best ruler I have ever used, ever. This thing is fabulous. See how it's kind of got a opaque? It has like a silicone coating on the back. And you put it on your fabric and press, and it does not move. Well, it moves when it's on it. But look at this. I'm going to show you.
let me get this piece of fabric here. So yeah, you set this on here, stick. Look at it. It does not slide around like I had some grippies on. See how this, if I do this and here, it doesn't move. It's amazing. They ain't cheap. This one was $27. I got it at all brands, but it's called Quilter Select, and it's from quilterselect.com. I've never used this. I also like it because the lines are very, very skinny, and so I think I was getting a more accurate cut. I really do. So this is going to be, I think I don't know, it's a little bit shorter than my Omni Grip, but this will probably stay in my travel pack, my travel bag. So also in here, I have my folding, this was a Missouri Star Daily Deal, my folding rotary cutter mat. And I also have, let's see, a groovy seam ripper that my girl Lisa gave me. And I got a little measuring tape there. I have my Yazzie, my iron, with a little iron in it, okay? That's cool. That's just for the ironing thing. And then I put my pins in here. These need a case of some sort. I mean, they stick because it's a magnet, but they need a case. And then also in here, I have an ironing pad, foldable iron, and it has a little silicone thing. If you had a full-size iron, which I don't, but this thing holds a ton, and it's perfect for travel. Absolutely perfect. So it also, this one has it came with two little pouches, but I think these were specials that were thrown in because of the show. You don't get that with it regularly. And then on this particular flap, it has little places you can tuck needles and, you know, pens and whatever else you might want to put in there. You guys, this thing is awesome. I love it. And, you know, it just keeps everything where I need it to be, all in one spot. So very, very happy with it. High quality, big zipper pull tabs that match the fabric exactly. Very nice. So I can't recommend these bags enough. I think that they are absolutely fabulous. So if you get an opportunity to spring for one, it's money well spent as far as I'm concerned.
Hello, I'm Pauline from Pauline's Quilters World, and I want to tell you about these great bags. They are the Yazzie bags, and you probably know about those because they are so popular. I've been using Yazzie's bags for years and years and years, but when I designed the Sasha tool, I really wanted something to store these tools in. So I spoke with Yazzie and she suggested this one would be the best bag for me to have because it opens out beautifully and it's got all these gorgeous zipper pockets in here. And I can just slip each one of my individual sasha tools inside and I can quite clearly see the size of the tool. It is just a perfect storage bag for them. You know, we have our bag strappers, we have our binding tools, we have our jelly roll tools and our weaver tools. They all fit in there. And if I go out teaching or if I go on a retreat or even if I'm in my sewing studio, my sashes are always in the bag. They can always come with me. I have another little pocket zipper here that I can put some of my other tools like my rotary cutter and maybe my bottle of glue or my threads. I can put them in this bag, in this pocket. So I just love these bags, and as I said, all of my tools will fit inside. But for my one that I take out with me, I wanted to dress it up. So I'll just show you what I've done to dress up this bag. I've done a little bit of bias applique. So I cut a piece of fabric out and a piece of batting. Let's undo this Velcros. We've put the Velcros back on. But it just shows you that we can decorate the bags up to make them ours. Brand it as yours. Put whatever sort of design on here. You might want to do appliques, you might want to do wool felt applique, you might want to do embroidery, you could do any style of thing. You could even just embroider your name on. But don't you love the pockets? I love the pockets that we can see through them. But after having these for many, many, many years and they're still in perfect condition, the quality is so high and so good. So I just wanted to let you know, for all those people that have the sasha collection, no matter how many you've got, no matter what size you've got, even if you've got your bigger ones, they're still going to fit in one of the pockets. So I really recommend it as a bag for you to store your sasha tools in. So thank you, Yazzie. I love your bags.
I have got to share something with you. For years, I have struggled with where do I store my sewing machine needles. I started off years ago with a little round container from Singer with little dividers, and that worked good for a little while, but the needles kept going over to the next compartment and then they would get jammed up. And then as I got into sewing more and more, I needed many kinds of needles, different sizes, and I went to this. And oh, it was supposed to be so handy. And I used it for quite a while. It's got a little lock on it, so the doors don't open by themselves. Well, guess what? I dropped it off the table, and it did open up. And 300 sewing machine needles. I spent 2 weeks with the magnifying glass trying to put them back in their little compartments. Well, then one night I was looking on the computer on Yazzie.com and I came across this. This is the sewing machine feet organizer, but it's perfect because look at all the compartments, individual compartments with the and for what purpose. But I have them all in here. I have boxes, the packages, and I have boxes of 100. Look it holds them really nice. And then I have loose needles because I buy in bulk. But this is gusseted and it does stretch out quite large. I could get a couple boxes in there, but this has worked out so great for me. And I can close it. This is a compartment where I store the recommendations from the needle company, identifying the different parts, different features. it's just been such a great idea. I thought I was original and I thought it up, but I guess I didn't. But it works great. This is the Sewing Machine Feet Organizer by Yazzie. Check it out.
I gotta tell you guys, you know, yes, Yazzie Bags gave these to me to promote to you, but I'm gonna tell you what, you can believe I do not promote a thing on this channel that I don't 100% believe in or use myself. And you won't believe the garbage that I turn away, that I tell these people I'm not going to, because advertising is expensive, you know. So, but if I believe in a product, I'm going to tell you guys about it, so that when and if you decide you want one, you can make an informed decision. So Yazzie Bags, Yasmita Magan, she is the owner of Yazzie Bags. So it's a woman-owned business, so that's good to promote as well. She lives in Australia, and she and I talk on the phone quite a bit. So we have a nice, friendly relationship as well. And in addition to emails and whatnot, she tells me that these are made in India on treadle machines. They are not made in China. So you are supporting a freely traded product when you purchase a Yazzie bag. They are just wonderfully made, and everybody I know who has one, you know, just absolutely loves it. Look at all these pockets with the bi-directional. Let me back out. I'll hold it up here. So look at all the pockets with the bi-directional zippers. So anyway, these bags are just absolutely fabulous. And also on this one, there is an outer zipper pocket as well. And so that's awesome. Very good, very nice, beautiful stuff.